Hi, I'm Shane with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at, I'm going to show you how to install Roadmaster's high-powered diode wiring kit on our 2014 Ford Fusion. It's going to be one of 7 components required to flat tow your vehicle. Let's go over those components now. One is going to be our base plate. It's going to connect directly to the chassis of the vehicle to give you that solid attachment point for your tow bar. Second is going to be your tow bar. It's going to give you that solid connection point between your base plate on your towed vehicle and your RV. Third is going to be your safety cables. These are going to be a secondary safety device in case your tow bar happens to fail. Fourth is going to be your braking system. Braking system is mounted inside the vehicle, and it's going to allow you to apply the brakes in the vehicle while it's being flat towed rather than having to depend on the RV to stop both vehicles. Next is going to be our wiring. Our wiring is going to allow us to transfer all of our light signals from our RV to our vehicle while it's being flat towed so that we're safe. Our sixth component is going to be a battery charge line. It's going to allow us to charge our battery while we're flat towing the vehicle because our braking system requires a power source to work. Our seventh component is going to be a brake light relay. Because this vehicle, when the key is in the off position and you push on the brake lights come on, we don't want that signal to override our turn signal when we're flat towing it. The relay is going to separate that wire, so we're only getting the wire functions or the lighting functions from the RV. Roadmaster's high-powered diode wiring kit allows us to transfer all of our signals from our RV to our Fusion so we can safely flat tow it, which means when we turn on the blinker in the RV, the blinker is going to come on the back of our Fusion. Same thing with our brake lights and running lights. So not only are we legal, but we're safe. And not only for ourselves, but for other drivers so they can see what we're doing, whether we're braking, turning, or we're driving at night. How it works is we have a wire that runs from the front of the vehicle back to behind each taillight. There's 2 diodes on each side that are going to allow you to transfer those signals so you can use your factory taillights. But not only that, the diodes are going to protect your factory wiring from any backfeed if there's a wiring issue. Now let's go over what's going to come in our kit. We're going to get some zip ties to help hold our wiring up while we're running it the length of the vehicle. We're going to get some wire loom to help clean up our install once we're done. Ring terminal for our ground wire, self-tapping screw for our ground wire. We're going to get an included butt connector just in case we need it. Our wiring to run from our plug in the front of the vehicle to the back to our taillights. Then we're going to get our diodes. And how these work, we're going to have an in and an out. Our out is going to go towards our light. Our in is where our wire comes in. Now to run our wiring from the front of the vehicle to the back, what I did is I just taped it to the 2 prongs here, the 2 rods for our wiring. I went next to my base plate. If you have a shutter system, make sure you're not going through it. You want to make sure that still works. I went right behind my base plate, came up here, behind my driver's side headlight, and I made a little loop here. You can see I just zip tied it to some factory wiring, and this is so when I put in my braking system, it's going to be easy to tie into it. And then I went back down next to my frame rail. You can see right here is where I came back down. I looped it right through this existing wiring to keep it away from my CV axle, anything that's moving here or hot. And I went back down underneath. This panel that runs down the side of the car, there's a lot of attachment points here that I really didn't want to take off, but it's all hollow underneath here. So I use an airline tube. You can use a wire hanger, anything that's about this long. Down at the end, it's pretty much open, so you can push that through and up to here. I pushed it through, tied my wire to it, and then pulled it all the way back down. From here, I went up over top of this hard line, right by my fuel tank, went up, right through here, went over top of my axle, over top of all my suspension components, right through my panel right here on the back, on my driver's side. Once we got back here, you want to split all your wires apart. Take your white wire, you're going to cut the length. This is our ground wire. I'm just going to ground it right here. You just want to make sure you're on metal, not on plastic. Ring terminal. Just like that. Next we need to remove our tail lights. In order to do that, we have some panels on the inside of our trunk that we need to remove. We're going to start with our lower panel here. We're just going to pick it up and set it aside. Our threshold We're going to pull it up like that, set it aside. We're going to have some tie downs. We'll have one here and one here. And it might make it a little bit more flexible if you remove this panel to the battery. Set that aside. We're going to take this like that. Now let's pull it out. We're going to have two bolts right here, or two nuts that are 10 millimeter that we need to remove. Once we get our two nuts off, we're going to have a little pin up in this corner. Take a plastic trim panel tool, wedge it in between the light and the body that way, and you're going to pop it out like that. Once we get our light end done, we'll go ahead and disconnect our wiring. We're just going to push on that little tab there. And we're going to do that same thing on the passenger side. Next, we need to bring our brown and yellow wire up behind our fascia to our taillight pocket. Airline tube, wire hanger. There's a hole right here. You can stick it down and it comes right out the bottom. All I did was taped it to it and brought it back up. Then we need to determine what our functions do, or what wires are doing what functions. We determined through testing that we have a variable voltage system with LED lights, which means that all three functions, brake lights, running lights, and turn signals, are all running through one wire. Our diode wiring kit is actually going to send 12 volts of power to our taillights. What we need to do is we need to put a resistor in there to bring that 12 volts down so it doesn't burn up the LED wiring. We determined through testing that our white wire with a green stripe is going to be our wire that's giving us all three functions. We're going to go ahead, you can see how I mounted my diode here. It's got two-sided, it's got sticky tape on it, so just peel it out and stick it on there. We're going to take our white wire, we're going the outside of the diode, goes out to the plug, the other end of our wire going to go on the double side of our diode. That's going to recomplete that circuit there. Then we're going to make a jumper wire. We're going to take a couple more spade connectors. These do not come in your kit, but you can find them here at etrailer.com. We'll connect one on each end. We're going to take this wire, the jumper wire, we're connected on the second second side or second prong on our diode, on our first diode, and then it's going to go to the out of our second diode, like this. Take this, put it back here, just like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that diode about right there so it stays out of the way of my tail light. Yellow wire, I'm going to go ahead and put on like that. Brown wire coming from our diode kit. We need a jumper wire to go over to the passenger side. So when we cut that, you just want to make sure you hold on to the other end. We're going to tie them together. We're going to add on a butt connector, a resistor, which is going to look like this. We're going to go in to the other side of our butt connector with our brown wire. We'll add on our yellow spade connector, get it to fit. And that is going to go right there. We're going to do the same thing on the passenger side here. Brought our wires up using our airline tube, same way we did on driver's side. We determined that our gray wire with our purple stripe is going to be our brake and turn signal and running light signal for our passenger side. We do it the same way, hook it up, mounted one of my diodes here, hooked the one going out to the plug to the outside, other side of that wire to the inside. Jumper wire to my second diode, green wire going to the end of the second diode, and then my resistor coming from my running light signal into that diode. It's going to give us the same thing on this side it's going to give us on the driver. Now, just to test out our wiring, we're going to go ahead and install a 6-pole plug. We will be taking it back off because we got to put the fascia on before this gets installed for good. This 6-pole plug is not going to come with this diode kit. You can purchase these separately, and you can buy diode kits with these included. The reason this one is not included in this particular kit is because our customer actually purchased the Roadmaster Nighthawk tow bar, and the Roadmaster Nighthawk tow bar comes with this plug to add on to this. So we're going to install this temporarily to test out our wiring to make sure everything's working correctly. We're going to strip back each of our wires. On the back of the plug, it's going to be marked. TM is running light signal, which was our brown wire. GD is ground, which was our white wire. LT is left turn, which is our yellow. RT is right turn, which was our green. And then you have 2 other posts for any additional wiring, like a battery charge line. Go ahead, start with right turn. You can use a Phillips head screw or a flathead screwdriver on this. I recommend the flathead because the Phillips are very, they tend to strip out pretty easy, and these screws are really small too, so don't take them all the way out. Now we'll test out our wiring using an alternate power source. This is going to simulate being hooked up to your RV. Tail lights, left turn, brake lights, right turn.